Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. And if you're new here, welcome for the first time. And tonight we got Horror Mayhem, Decades of Dread. That's right, stay tuned. Okay everyone, so Horror Mayhem was created by the Bookishbryants, and that is Scott and Becky, and this event is in loving memory of Scott, who sadly passed away last year. And yeah, I'm going to list all the other hosts down below, and there's a lot of them, and I encourage you to check out their videos. There's lots and lots of different recommendations, because this is all about reading short horror. It's reading novellas, kind of under 250 pages, short stories, and reading from different decades. You don't have to go all the way back to early 20th century, 19th century, and all the way to modern times, but just try and explore different kinds of short horror during that time. Now before I get to the books, I just love that name, Decades of Dread, and particularly that word dread. Such a powerful emotion, and I just wanted to say something about that quickly before we talk about the books that I'm going to read, my recommendations, kind of through the decades. Dread is like intense fear. It's that sick feeling you got in the pit of your stomach that it's not going to end well, that something bad is going to happen, but you're not sure what yet. Maybe you're floundering through the dark in the woods, and yeah, maybe there's a scent that assails your nostrils. You smell something rotten and rancid. Maybe something or someone is hunting you. That's a feeling of dread. But you don't know what it is yet. And then you start running and you trip over something. And you open your eyes and you stare into the face of a decaying corpse. Oh, the horror. That's horror. Okay? Dread is anticipation. It's kind of the build-up to that horror. So yeah, and I'm not saying that all these books are just about dread. These books are horror. And all this event is trying to do is to encourage you to dip your toes into horror if you've never done before. Just give it a try. You might enjoy it. And although not all these books, in fact very few of them are kind of books for beginners into horror, you do well to check out all the other videos that have been released on the subject. But I have tried to choose some books, and I'm going to talk about some stories that I think lend themselves to decades of dread. Okay, so I'm going to kind of start off with classics and just throw some books out there very quickly. Some authors I think you should try, and then I might delve into a little bit more next month. And I haven't done my TBR yet, but most of this, or a lot of this, is going to be included. So let's start with some classics. Edgar Allan Poe. I haven't read enough Poe, and I plan to read more Poe. So that's to start with. And then we've got H.P. Lovecraft, and I've got the complete kind of collection of H.P. Lovecraft on my Kindle, but I'm just going to show you this cover because it's cool, and it's also one of his lesser known works perhaps, and that is The Tomb, right? That's the cover. The Tomb and Other Tales of H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah, I haven't read the Other Tales yet, so I might dip into that. So yeah, I might explore Lovecraft for this particular thing as well. And then we got some collections, we got some more great ghost stories. A lot of these authors in this particular collection, I don't know these authors at all. It really is just, let me just say some of the titles here. Ghosts of Ancient Egypt, Schools for Ghosts, The Club of Dead Men. So yeah, I have no idea about the authors. Vida Derry, Frank Usher. So yeah, I'm just, oh, Ronald Seth. There's a lot of Ronald Seth here. Tony Parker. I don't know any of these authors, and I haven't read this book yet. But it's a good excuse to read something that I own that I haven't picked up yet. Yeah, so that's more great ghost stories and excuse the mess here. Yeah. And then, finally, for kind of more classic horror, and this cover is falling apart a bit, hardcover, it's Great Tales, the Supernatural. And I do know authors such as D.H. Lawrence, Guy Maupassant, and I think there's some others here. Algernon Blackwood. Yes, I love Algernon Blackwood. And yeah, I'm going to definitely dip into this one as well. I've read some of these stories, but this is a good excuse to read more for this event. Okay, let's look at some books from the 1960s, 1970s. First of all, 1967, we got Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. Now, I've already read this book, and although I thoroughly enjoyed it, I don't know if I'm going to reread it. But the fact that it comes under, what, just 210 pages, highly recommend it if you want some dread-inducing horror. It's very good. And there are a lot of 70s classics as well that I would recommend, but a lot of them like kind of over the page length. I'll tell you what I will be reading is, and I got these two books, the 5th Pan Book of Horror Stories. Alright, look at that cover. And I've got the 19th Pan Book of Horror Stories. Now, I bought this a little while ago and I haven't dipped in yet. Once again, because I don't know a lot of the authors. I think they're more obscure authors. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me if this is a great series that I should kind of carry on with. But yeah, I'm going to dip into these books as well for some short horror. And then 1970s. This is my favorite, Ramsey Campbell, The Face That Must Die. And this is definitely an author that I think focuses very much on dread. It's very slow burn. And this book is all about paranoia, the serial killer. And so yeah, I highly recommend it. And then another book that's been on my TBR by Ramsey Campbell, and I'm definitely going to pick this up next month because it's got an introduction by Clive Barker we're going to talk about soon, and that is Tales of Sex and Death, Scared Stuff. And yeah, I haven't finished. I think I only just started these short stories and I put them down. I wasn't in the mood, but I'm definitely going to carry on. And yeah, that cover is kind of interesting. Okay, let's move to the 80s, and this is my favorite horror compilation, collection, and that is Dark Forces, edited by Kirby McCauley. Now, I've read this entire book, and these short stories are absolutely brilliant, people. Highly recommend Dark Forces. And some of the authors on display are Joyce Carol Oates, T.D. Klein, Children of the Kingdom, absolutely brilliant. The Brood, Ramsey Campbell. So if you're not going to pick up other Ramsey Campbell, The Brood is an excellent short story. And then Dennis Etchison, The Last Shift. And we got Liza Tuttle, Where the Stones Grow. And yeah, there's just so many incredible stories in this collection. Highly recommend it. And I'm going to be rereading some of these for next month. For Horror Mayhem, definitely. Then we got my favourite author, one of my favourite authors, and you're going to love this cover, Clive Barker, Books of Blood. Yeah, this is volume 4, and then this is volume 4 to 6. Now, I've read the entire Clive Barker, Books of Blood, volume 1 to volume 6, and 2 stories I would love to read next month. Decades of Dread. It's number 1, a story called Dread, which is probably my favorite book, favorite story from the entire series, and I highly recommend it. It'll scare the crap out of you. Dread. And there's another one I think called The Life of Death. There's A Midnight Meat Train. You cannot go wrong with Clive Barker, Books of Blood. So, yeah, that's for the 80s. And then I've got Poppy Z. Bright. Oh no, she might be from the 90s. We'll come back to that. Okay, now we've got two 90s collections from Stephen King. Short story collections that I really love. Well, maybe one more than the other. The one is 4 Past Midnight, which actually isn't my favorite, but it's got the Langoliers. And it's got a story called The Sundog, which is awesome, but it's a long time since I've read it, so I'm going to read it this next month. And apparently it's about taking a picture, and this dog just comes closer and closer and becomes more threatening. So yeah, I'm going to give that a read. And then you got Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Now this is a very underrated collection in my opinion, and it's got a story in called Crouch End. It's my wife's favorite, and it is very, very, very fear-inducing. It fills you with dread, kind of otherworldly dread. So yeah, that's Nightmares and Dreamscapes. And then we got Are You Lonesome Tonight by Poppy Z. Bright. Now be warned, this is very graphic. You know, I recently read Poppy Z. Bright, what was it? Exquisite Corpse. Just a kind of short. That's very extreme. Not for everyone. And these stories are also not for everyone. Pretty damn extreme. But yeah, just something different. I remember some of the ones I enjoyed were like Self-Made Man. I think it's like kind of a reimagining of Jeffrey Dahmer, but in a very sick way. Yeah, so pick this up if you dare. Poppy Z. Bright. Okay, now I've only got 2 books that I'm mentioning from the 2000s. There's probably a load more on my Kindle that I could have introduced to you all. Maybe when I do my TBR, I'll kind of mention a few others. But the first is 10 Days of Flesh. Yes. And this is a very disturbing novella. It's under 250 pages. And yeah, it's about how meat becomes the kind of protein of the planet when you can't eat anything else. And it's become normalized to eat meat. And it's very sick and it's disturbing, and yeah, I recommend it if you can stomach it. And then we got an existential horror, A Short Stay in Hell. It's only 100 pages, people, but it haunted me for days, and I highly, highly recommend it. Yeah. And then finally, and I have no idea where these books are from. I know I got them on my Kindle, and they're kind of anthologies. And the first one is called 25 Gates of Hell. No idea what it's about. I think there's 1 or 2 authors that I recognize. You see the picture up there? I want to read it. I want to read stuff that I kind of got and I've just been holding and I haven't read. And then there is Nest of Nightmares by Lysa Tuttle on my Kindle. I have read that, and I wasn't overly impressed, but there were a couple of short stories that were truly haunting and terrifying. And then there is The Mammoth Book of Zombies, also one of my favorite collections. And it's perfect because I'm going into next month also going to be reading about zombies, because it's Zombie-thon from Cat's Novel Adventures. It's her thing, so I'm going to be reading some zombie stuff as well. And don't be put off. This Mammoth Book of Zombies is all sorts of different kinds of creatures, a different approach to the zombie genre, and it's a lot of fun. And I love the stories in here. So yeah, that is it. Okay everyone, so let me know if you're joining in for Horror Mayhem. Awesome event. And yeah, as I say, I'll list all the other hosts down below, and you can check out their videos and get an idea. And if you don't read a lot of horror, maybe explore some of their videos before taking some of my recommendations. That might be a bit much, but there is a lot of lighter horror out there that you can enjoy. You know, something like Roald Dahl, Shirley Jackson is a good one. Haunting of Hill House, some very good examples out there. Let me know if you're joining in, and talk to me down in the comments below. And yeah, until next time, take care of yourselves, keep those pages turning, and cheers.